That is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest part of the ring.
Hello and welcome to episode 129 of Hardest Part of the Ring, the podcast where four friends get together to celebrate the wonder of professional wrestling. My name is Adam. This guy is called Sam.
Hell yeah, he is.
This guy is called John.
Yeah.
And this guy is called Brett.
Hello.
I love trying to mix up my opening. Wow. How are you guys? How are you, Brett?
Yeah, I need some of Sam's energy. The clock's moving and it being dark really early just has set me into hibernation.
Do you have SAD? Is it called SAD?
Yeah, season-associated depression, is it associated?
Yeah.
I don't know. A seasonal effectiveness disorder.
Oh, maybe that's it. Yeah,
I feel like they had the name first and then they came up with the acronym afterwards.
it's almost too perfect, isn't it, the acronym?
Yeah, definitely. There's been a few of those in wrestling over the years when they've thought of the acronym first. Brought it back to wrestling, guys, because this is a wrestling podcast. And last week we did a whole hour and a bit about our top 5 Chris Jericho matches, which is one of my favourite episodes, I think, ever.
That was a lot of fun.
It was good.
In the 7 days since then, Chris Jericho's donated $3,000 to Donald Trump's re-election campaign.
Has he really?
What?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pittance, isn't it, in the grand scheme of things, but it's still enough to...
That's it. Cancel it. Delete it.
Well, hang on a
so
second.
no one can hear it again.
Just delete that
Well,
episode,
this is
yeah.
the thing that's got me is the thing that's obviously got John here, which is, I thought Jericho was Canadian.
Yeah, he's Canadian.
Yeah.
That's foreign money funding the US presidency. That's out of order. that is.
Because foreign money never funds political parties in other countries, does
So
it?
we've uncovered a big old conspiracy about Chris Jericho.
That's horrible, though, isn't it? Because you watch him doing what he did on AEW with MJF, his big red beetroot face singing in his tuxedo, and you just think, I love that man. And then he's capable of that.
Well, I've got some more news as well.
Oh, you're just going to ruin all the wrestling now, Sam.
Because The Undertaker has also donated to Donald Trump's re-election campaign.
Oh, we knew that. The Taker has
we
been
know
wearing all his racist T-shirts with his "Don't tread on me, snakes" and stuff. So
We really like wrestling, but we really don't like wrestling in politics.
no,
Which is why we keep talking about it.
Taker's probably a full-on QAnoner as well with his.
I can't imagine
T-shirts.
Taker using a computer, though. I can't imagine him logging in.
That is
With
true.
little spectacles. Oh, dear.
He gets a little pamphlet through the door
I reckon he calls up
of
Kane.
his conspiracy theories.
Oh, well, this is all very depressing. Hell in a Cell is the pay-per-view that we're here to talk about this week. It is a traditional pay-per-view review, and we're going to get to it after we have recovered from all that horrible Trump chat.
Drives Riddle back first and then the Messiah of the backbreaker utilizing that aforementioned hardest part of the ring.
WWE Hell in a Cell 2020 took place once again at the Thunderdome with an attendance of... How many screens are there? Do we know for sure?
1 million.
It looks like they've got more in, right? Or is it just me? I feel like they've got a lot more screens in since the
They've
first few
certainly
times.
got more ons on the screens. I wonder if they've got more in. Oh.
I think it's amazing how they keep getting the most incredible ventriloquists on screen all the time who can chant "This is awesome" without moving their mouth.
It bugs me so much when they play the fake "This is awesome" chant. It feels so degrading and cheap. I feel dirty just watching and hearing it.
They did a fake holy shit one as well.
They
Yeah.
did.
Even though they beeped out Jay Uso saying shit.
Yeah, but also that like the repeat on that was just too quick. The sound guy like edited it in too quick, so it was just like really robotic. It's
Yeah.
like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. That's what it sounded like. It was like, what's going on?
Amazing. The comms team, who I had a lot of love for the comms team in general over this pay-per-view. We had Michael Cole and Corey Graves, of course, from Raw, and we had Tom Phillips, Samoa Joe, and Byron Saxton. from
Everyone's
SmackDown.
favourite Byron Saxton.
Did you see his guns? Good lord, he was barely in his suit. They were popping out.
I did not spot that, but thanks for the update. The card, Sam, what was on the card?
All right, so pre-show we had R-Truth versus Drew Gulak for the 24/7 title. How was that, Brett?
I did not get to it, I'm afraid. I'm
I
sorry.
think you were wise to skip that one, Brett.
You're going to lose your nickname pre-show, Jones.
Yeah.
You say that, but like R-Truth is a very competent wrestler, and Drew
And
Gulak,
so
we
is
already
Drew
know, is
Gulak.
amazing.
When was the last time you saw R-Truth wrestle? Seriously, come on.
Oh man, that might be about 10 years ago with the old little Jimmy thing.
Proper match, yeah.
But yeah, so pre-show was R-Truth versus Drew Gulak. R-Truth retaining the 24/7 title, being the most prolific title holder in WWE at the moment. Main
In
card.
history, surely.
Maybe. Main card, Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso in a I Quit match. In a cell. So an I Quit the cell.
A stipulation within a stipulation.
Wait, was he in a cell?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he was, yeah. But at some point in time, the cell door got opened and lots of people got in the ring, essentially negating the point of the cell.
It's like a cat flap.
right.
Well, no, it's not like a cat flap at all. I was going to say it opens in but not out. But some cat flaps have that setting. If you're taking your cat to the vet and you don't want it to go out, but you do want it to
If
come
they
in.
wear magnetic collars, then they're allowed
Yeah.
in the cell.
Oh, like Running Man, like the head explodes.
Following on from the Hell in a Cat Flap match, we had Elias versus Jeff Hardy. Yeah, that's the reaction. The Miz, accompanied by John Morrison, versus Otis, accompanied by Marty Jannetty. We had Sasha Banks versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title in a Hell in a Cell match. We had Bobby Lashley of The Hurt Locker, The Hurt Business. The Hurt Locker is a film.
Oh, it's a great film
versus-
as well.
I haven't seen it.
Good.
Versus Slapjack of Retribution. Slapjack. Main event, we had Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship, once again in a Hell in a Cell.
Wonderful. So we are going to do the usual format. We're going to pick out key matches first. And it's going to be tough. Do you think the listeners are going to be able to guess what our 3 key matches might be tonight?
Oh, goodness. Is it Slapjack?
Yeah. There were only 3 matches trailed in the package at the start, which, kind of makes sense. But, I mean, there were also 3 matches that went on for half an hour each. And the other 3 matches went on for a combined 19 minutes.
I felt every one of those 19 bloody minutes, though.
So yeah, you might have guessed we are going to go in deep into the Hell in a Cell matches, which is bloody good news because there's so much to talk about for each of them. And then after that, we'll talk about best of the rest. That's going to be hard. And then worst of the rest, that'll be fairly easy. Pick a star performer and give the pay-per-view a rank out of 10. So to start off with, we're going to do it chronologically, which means we're going to kick off with Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso for the I Quit in a Cell cat flap match. John, you're going to start things off.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
Good. Yeah, so this is their rematch from the killer match they had at Clash of Champions. It had a lot of similarities with that match, but they dialed it up with the brutality and the intensity to 20. Like, it was insane. And I don't think any match has got me emotionally like this match did since like Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate at that TakeOver match.
That's
Wow.
interesting. Yeah.
This is not what I was expecting at all.
No.
I felt the same, John. I was really emotionally invested towards the end. I had goosebumps.
Guys,
I had goosebumps for a
You
while.
seriously?
The battle lines are drawn. Let's hear the argument for the defense of Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns in a cat flap match.
I
Okay.
was bored rigid throughout this.
Really?
I
Wow.
hated it. I was just like,
Hated it.
yeah, because I know, the story just seemed like, it was worse than Hollyoaks. But
Thank
it
you.
was like,
I love a bit of Hollyoaks. Be careful
a
with
lot
that.
Actual
of
family.
worse than Hollyoaks acting in between. Do you know, when it kicked off and Roman Reigns hit a suplex early doors, I thought this is going to be a good match. There's going to be some great wrestling going. And then just him pacing a lot, him bringing out the tears and... Oh, the only
Thank
bit that
you,
looked
Brett.
brutal.
Heartless.
The
I'm gonna choke up. I'm
only
gonna choke
bit
up.
that looked brutal in this match was the guillotine. That looked brutal. The rest of it, I was just like, please just say I quit. Someone say I quit. Oh, the refs ended it. Quick, everyone leave. Just no,
Oh,
they're
come on,
still
what
coming
about-
back in. Oh my day.
Some of this, there's a spear that Roman hit, and like Jay was like gasping for air. That was brilliant. That
When
bit.
he was rolling around on the floor saying, "I can't breathe."
Yeah.
bringing together that very famous phrase from a Black Lives Matter.
That did feel a bit weird, but let's move on from that.
Immediately. Can I bring it right back to what I think's really important here? And I think this might be somewhere where the teams switch up, and it might be Sam and Adam with different opinions to Brett and John.
Oh, okay.
Brett and John have got tattoos.
Hello.
Do either of you have chest tattoos that go right up to the nipple like both of these guys?
No.
Yes.
Oh, is it fucking awful getting your nipple tattooed?
Not as bad as you think. Like the collarbone, way worse than nipple.
Oh, really?
Yeah, anything where there's like a thin bit of skin and bone, like right beneath it, is really painful.
The thing is that you say that, and I think like all of my skin is quite close to my bone. I want to hope. Oh, I'm worried. Are you worried, Adam? Because listeners may not know that Adam and me have a bet where if we're still friends in 2 years' time, we've both got to get tattoos.
Yeah, I was convinced this friendship wouldn't last, and then we started the podcast. Unbelievable.
Nearly 10 years deep now.
That's bonkers.
Yeah.
Isn't it? 8 years? Wow.
10 years of friendship. Anyway,
Friendship's
so
strong though, right, guys? It's a strong word.
Okay,
Right.
okay. So that you two aren't sure about this match. Sam.
No, there's not being not sure. I am sure
All right,
I did
all
not
right.
like this
All
match.
right. I definitely didn't dislike it as much as Brett did. I disliked the match because I feel like it was too story heavy, not enough wrestling and action, and it felt a bit too kind of discussion, go to the next spot, discussion, go to the next spot. And it really, for me, this didn't land too well because I quite enjoy watching the action when you've got quite a lot of chain wrestling, quite a lot of backwards and forwards. And I feel like this match, the first thing is kind of, I don't understand what the point of the cell was. They kind of never really used it or
did
worked
not
with it.
did not need to be in a cell, this match, especially as it was an I Quit match. The I Quit
Well,
stipulation makes sense, but then to have that inside the cell, it just felt like we're doing a Hell in a Cell, so you guys are going to the cell.
Exactly. And then I just I think the story took a bit too much of this match. I love stories in wrestling, I really do, but it kind of felt like this was some sort of wannabe Shakespearean drama where it was like this family feud and like, don't make me do this to you, and the crying and everything. And honestly, like, depending on how invested you are in the storyline, I think kind of depends on how much you get out of this match. And if you buy into like this story, and I do think it's a good one, then I think kind of it's completely understandable to enjoy this match. I think for me, it was just a little bit too much talky, not enough wrestling.
And it was the same as the previous match as well. The story, it was just like the same.
It was
I'll
similar.
give you that.
Yeah.
It was very similar, but then it had the things that ramped it up. So the stipulation of the I Quit and being able to bring in, obviously, the leather strap. Obviously, there were some issues with getting that round his neck.
Yeah,
there were all
that
sorts
took
of
a
good
while.
stuff.
But when he
Loads of
choked
good ones.
Roman out, that was such a cool moment. I was like, oh my God, is Jay actually going to bloody do this?
Oh, really? Did you ever
No.
believe that for a
I
second?
did, for a second.
Well, here's a question then. Sam, were you excited to watch the pay-per-view when you sat down to watch it?
No, I wasn't. So
Brett, were you?
No,
I was like, I'm up for this. There's going to be some good matches, and I haven't watched much wrestling over the last week. I'm well up for this. John?
Middling, I'd say. I was looking forward to 2 of the matches.
So,
I mean,
what can we conclude?
very, very fair point. I actually had a question about leather straps. What are the purpose of giant leather straps?
To, tie stuff down.
Maybe something equestrian, like when you're doing dressage with I don't know, something to do with horses.
that was probably just wasn't it like Rikishi's outfit?
Oh,
his around the belly in, down and under, sort of, and up and through the butt crack.
You've solved the puzzle. Yeah.
I can see
Family
why
heirloom.
you guys feel this way now, but I was convinced that we were all going to feel the same way.
Yeah,
But
I
I can see it's kind of like a knife edge between it being cheesy and boring and Roman's character. But I love Roman's character work. I fucking love Roman as a heel, and I think these 2 matches that he's had are monumental in the building of what will go down as like an incredible arc, a story arc.
100%. Like, I completely agree with you in that I can understand why people would like this match. I think the problem for me, the big problem is that I think both Jey Uso and Roman can wrestle. and can wrestle really well. And I think there just wasn't enough of it in this. And I think kind of the hardcore elements of the match detracted from the actual ability of both wrestlers.
Do you know, it reminded me of Attitude Era Raw, where like you tune in the first hour, there would be one person in the ring talking and one person on the ramp talking, and there'd be no wrestling. And I just wasted an hour.
But I think you had 3 very different Hell in a Cell matches, and obviously we'll get to them. And you had loads of wrestling in. Well, I won't talk about those just yet. But I kind of feel like it worked with the other ones. And I like Roman. I like writing down a few of the things he said. You're making me a bad guy, and the head of the table never quits. and then he kind of growled, "I do the whipping round here," and he was. I thought he was visceral.
Bad.
I thought it was visceral at times, like the emotion that he was putting into it.
I agree.
I think like this.
Roman's character acting in this is insane. Like, it's so
maybe it was because he had
loved it.
So little to do in Hobson Shaw. He was trying to prove I can act. Maybe
it
was all on the cutting room floor.
But he's better than he's ever been before. Don't you think
I just
Brett?
really struggled to take it seriously when someone says, I do the whipping round here. This is like Triple H talking about how much he wants to eat Jericho's ass. It's just... I don't think it's meant to sound as...
he wanted it. He didn't want to eat it.
Oh, okay.
You added that detail. Anyway, obviously, so, there was lots of chat. It was quite slow. But good. It built. I loved it. But what about, again, at the end, and I know it was a repeat of what happened before, but Jimmy had to come out and make the save, yes. But with Jimmy... when the second guillotine happens and Roman does that to Jimmy, I thought that was cool. And then Jay reaching out and them holding hands, that was peak emotion for me.
Yep. And then Jay just giving up and be like, I quit.
And he's like, I quit, and that's the only way. Yeah, he's going to quit.
I'm getting pins and needles just thinking about it.
I know. I wish we were in the same room, John, so we could hug.
That bit was only noticeable when they did the replay afterwards, because it was like, this I quit match has ended and someone hasn't quit.
Yeah,
I noticed.
I noticed.
What's going on?
I think the thing for me, the big problem I have is maybe just generally I quit matches, is that WWE are a little bit afraid to make anyone look weak. So like if you go back to the I quit matches of old, say for example your Mick Foley ones, Mick Foley was a wrestler who was willing to get beaten up, and once he got beaten up would say I quit, and it would do so to make another wrestler look strong. Whereas now it's kind of in a place where like the only way you can get Jey Uso to quit, who is quite far beneath Roman's station as far as the pecking order goes, is to beat up his brother. And it's like, cool, you've kept Jey looking strong, but you kind of have made Roman look a little bit incompetent.
Oh, really? Do you think that Roman looks incompetent after this?
Well,
he looks like a fucking badass.
He couldn't get Jey to quit.
I love his like the way his like promos are. He's quite serene. It's quite weird the way that he talks on the slow pace. And I love the crying was convincing.
Yeah,
he actually looked like he was crying. It wasn't shit fake crying. Come on,
Heyman done a great job as well. Like just selling how even he's scared of Roman.
Heyman
come on,
holding his head against the cat. No, come on, that wasn't
he
great.
He meant it, Brett. He felt every second of it.
No, he fucking didn't. That was not great. I'm not having that.
I think kind of this match really lives and breathes or lives and dies on kind of how invested you are in the story. And I think it's good that you guys can enjoy it, and I totally can see a reason for enjoying it. I think for me, maybe it just caught me at a bad moment, and I was just like, I'm not feeling this story at the moment, because I just feel like they told it better in the last match.
Yeah, and it just seemed to go on for so long.
This is great. This is like a proper 50-50 split, and I'm shocked by it. And it's one of those, we could now debate this for another 25 minutes trying to convince each other. It's like Brexit. It's the same. John and I wanted to stay in the EU. You guys wanted to leave. So similar.
Days.
Old Brett Farage.
Brett's got that Farage tattoo on his...
Oh, yeah. On his nipple. Right up to his nipple. Farage's mouth.
School of Donald Trump here.
Before we do move on, one final thought. Final thought from me. Obviously, you guys are welcome to say more, but what do you think about the fact that at the end you had the elders there, Afa and Sika? I mean, would they be proud of Roman?
Roman, for beating up Jey Uso, gets the ceremonial chili peppers.
He gets his seat at the head of the table.
And
I think it makes sense in the storyline, right? Because if they're they're proper old, they respect the customs. Roman is the top dog.
A little bit confused.
Chief, so they sort of bow down to his power as well.
Are Jay and Jimmy now expelled from the family, or are they his servants?
Well, who knows? Tune into SmackDown on Friday nights on Fox to find out.
And if I don't want to tune into SmackDown on Friday, and I
Tune
just
into Jeremy Kyle afterwards. That I would have enjoyed. This slot on Jeremy Kyle going after each other. Now that would have been entertainment.
Actually, one thing I did enjoy from this match was kind of Jimmy Uso kind of using Jay's real name as opposed to Jay just saying like, "Oh, this is Josh. This is Josh." It was kind of, yeah, that was kind of interesting.
I didn't really understand what I thought. That was just some like hip young phrase, like Josh means whack or shit.
No. If he was talking to him as if he was a hip young phrase, he'd say, "No, this is Oos," but no, Josh Fatu, I think, is his actual name.
Brilliant. Okay. Roman Reigns' gold fingerless gauntlet.
Didn't like that, actually.
Oh,
Just
his
wanted to mention
his
that.
Thanos glove.
Yeah, wasn't a fan of that.
I like it. Okay, wow, what a split. I love this. And it makes for a good podcast when there's disagreement. So I'm pleased that Brett and Sam pretended not to enjoy that. Moving on to the next Hell in a Cell match. This one was for the SmackDown Women's Championship between Bayley and Sasha Banks. No extra stipulation required for this one. Is there an argument, and I'm going to go to Brett, you first, should this have headlined?
Oh, without shadow of a doubt. This, it was my match of the night. I would say it saved the pay-per-view for me, but one great match in a pay-per-view is not enough to save it. But
Unbelievable.
but this was amazing.
Yeah.
This like they put on a proper Hell in a Cell match, as you know, the sort of match you're expecting. They used everything. They used the cell. They went at it straight away, like with Sasha drop kicking Bayley with losing her chair out
That
under.
bit was
Love that.
so well done. Like the
Slick,
timing of
wasn't
it. Yeah, just flew out just at the nick of time. It was so well done, that.
It's amazing how she got it to lean against the door as well.
Yeah, that
Just
bit
put a bit
I
of
had an
backspin
issue
on it.
with.
Yeah, just
But yeah, like the pace throughout this, it was non-stop. They really went for it. They were making each other sort of say I quit, going nuts with the submissions, with the all the meteoras, the sequence of double knees that Sasha hit on Bayley throughout this match were just, they look so good. They look like the perfect move for a cell match.
yeah. That one where they broke the table and Sasha ran up the table and used it as a ramp
Yeah.
and did the meteor. Oh, that bit
Amazing.
was so good.
She's the only person
Yeah.
who could do that because she's so light. Anybody else would have then made the table crash down.
Yeah,
But
I even loved like the elements where, because of the character Bayley's sort of garnered in this COVID time where she's talking to the commentators and everything, when she couldn't do the duct tape and she's like asking the ref to do it for her, like it just fit, like
it kind of worked, yeah.
yeah, it just fit with her character and just like whatever you do it for me sort of thing in this match. It was just amazing throughout.
This match, it very much is going to be a chapter in the story of these four horsewomen when kind of like in 10 years time or whenever we're looking back at the careers of these four wrestlers, Becky, Charlotte, Sasha and Bayley, this is going to be one of the matches that are talked about because it's just such a good match.
Yeah,
Sasha's now had a Hell in a Cell match with each of the other three horsewomen as well.
That's
is
a
great,
great
'cause
stat.
obviously, was the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match the one that Sasha had with Charlotte, right? The
Yeah.
headlined.
yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
That's one of my favourite matches of recent years, and I was so hyped for this match before it started because of that. Because you just know what Sasha can do in these kind of matches, and you know Bayley's going to be good.
Yeah, and so many of the even the poses Sasha hit after being hit with a move, like Bayley did like this leg sweep where she slammed her head down on the floor in the beginning and stuff, and she was just like all bent
ragdoll.
double sort of thing, and then she hit with something else and her legs bent back, and she was it was just made it all look so good.
I actually think this match provides a really interesting kind of parallel to the Roman Reigns Jey Uso match, where the story into this match is comparable to the Roman Reigns Jey Uso match. There's a lot of emotion riding on this. There's a kind of a long-term friendship turn betrayal, all of that. But this match kind of put the wrestling and the hardcore element of it first, and then the story, it was there, but it was more around the actual match itself, especially in the ending after Sasha wins the title and she can't stop staring at Bayley. It's just, for me, this is...
And doesn't want to celebrate.
Yeah, and this is subtle storytelling, and I think that's what makes it work really well.
She also like hit the belly to belly, the Bayley to belly onto the ladder sort of near the end as well in that sequence, which was just great.
Can we just say, like, about 2 minutes later, Bayley did a Bayley to belly, and the master of it absolutely fucking smashes it in comparison to Sasha's kind of weak knockoff version.
Yeah. Couple of spots that are worth bringing up. Obviously, we've sort of referred to some of them, but the kendo sticks suspended between the cage and the stairs. How nasty and dangerous did that look?
That looks so nasty, yeah.
And there were a couple of times when Sasha went into those and her head came smashing down right near the steps and like pinned in, and you said that could go wrong so easily.
And it sounded like the steps got smashed at the same time as well. I was just like, oh my God, is she all right after that?
Sasha's wrestling continues to scare the shit out of me every time I see her do any kind of hardcore match.
And then she gets sunset flipped into the propped up chair.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Even just like the finish, with the bank statement, like with the chair, just that looks so gnarly and brutal.
It did. And Bayley took the sunset flip to the cage as well.
Yeah.
To the outside, which was great.
And is the hardest part of the ring now actually the steel ring beam?
I was so hoping they were going to say that, and they didn't.
I know. So was I. I wanted a new clip.
I'm glad, because we don't need to rebrand the podcast yet.
Yeah. But I mean, it's innovative. There was innovative stuff throughout this match.
There really
and they
was.
didn't really need to come up with loads of stuff, because just beating the shit out of each other would have been enough. But it took it to the next level.
The match itself didn't need to be a Hell in a Cell. It might as well have been a hardcore match.
I don't know. I think this was the best Hell in a Cell match on this pay-per-view.
Oh, it was, but it just didn't need to be a Hell in a Cell.
Oh, I think it worked in a cell. I was annoyed that they went straight, like the first match these two have in this feud was in a cell. That seems a bit weird, but I thought this match was so good. Like, match of the year contender for me, this. It was brilliant.
It's hell in the cell time of year, so it would have been weird for them to have had a straight match out of the cell on this night, wouldn't it?
I think this is something we can come back to a bit later on, because I do want to talk about this a bit later in the pod.
Oh, okay.
Sam's got points. He's got a checklist.
Sam's scheduling. He's wow.
Checking
Sam's
off
got a
those
plan.
points.
Okay, so as we said, that was a spectacular match, which ended. Oh my God, we need to talk about the vicious bank statement in the chair with all those kicks. Absolutely brutal. I've seen some people online saying it's a nice callback to their match at NXT Respect when you had the extra kicks to the head there. That looked amazing to watch. That I was like, fuck, Bayley must be in a lot of pain.
Yeah, it did look brutal. So good.
Yeah, just a really good match. The spray paint section was a little bit odd.
Oh, I quite like that.
Yeah, I was game for that as well.
Yeah, should have done some in the eyes and the mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, I was going to make a horrible joke. So
move on.
Let's move on. So as far as I'm concerned, and you same, John, we've just talked about two fucking great matches, and we're absolutely loving this.
Yeah.
Next up is the third and final Hell in a Cell match. It was for the WWE Championship, and it was Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. And now, Sam, you can talk to us about this. I mean, you did send us a WhatsApp earlier.
I would like to read a text sent to you.
This annoyed me at the time.
I have tried to watch Orton versus McIntyre 3 times, and I have fallen asleep on 3 occasions. That's how I feel about Orton versus McIntyre. Even though John would then go on to lie to you, Adam.
Yeah, I was just like,
I think it's an all right match, this. I don't think it's bad. It's good.
I hadn't watched it, and I said, thanks, mate. I'm just starting that match. And I said, I hope you're just really tired. And John said, don't worry, it's a good match, which I appreciated, because if I'd known it was just dull and shit, then I would not have been up for it at all. But ugh.
And what have you learned about trusting John? Okay, so
I mean, he knows his stuff.
Orton versus McIntyre, Hell in a Cell. Orton attacks McIntyre when he's coming out to the ring, but the camera doesn't actually catch Orton in the cameraman gear, so
That bit was weird.
doesn't
yeah.
really land. It kind of sets the tone for the whole match, which is essentially
It gets turned around straight away as well. Like,
yeah.
it doesn't work at all.
I'm trying to think back what the story of this match was. I think it was just Drew McIntyre kicking out at 1 the whole match until the end when he decided not to. And that was it. But I was not a big fan of this match. I just found it lethargic and not Drew's best, and certainly
No.
around about Orton's par.
Oh, that is harsh.
Drew just did everyone a favour. He said, no one wants to see any more of this. I'll take the 3 count.
John, how do you feel about this match? Because you seem quite
in
into
defense of this match. Okay, one, Randy Orton is one of the star performers in WWE this year. Like, he's been killing it. And Drew has been an amazing champion. He stands up to everything. He's taken on all comers. This match was a bit slow, but I think the first half was really good. It's like a classic heavyweight fight, like 2 big guys knocking lumps out each other inside a cell match. They used to sell pretty well, more so than sort of Jimmy and Roman, but obviously not to the extent of Sasha and Bailey. It did lose me a bit when they climbed on top of the ring, on top of the cage, and Orton had that sort of off-brand lightsaber. And then they sort of slowly made their way back down the thing. But that bump Drew took from the cage through the announce table for a guy his size was
very
fucking
methodically.
nasty.
Yeah, it's no Shane McMahon, is it? It's no, the things
Drew
we've seen.
McIntyre's like 7 feet tall, weighs
7 feet.
500
All right,
pounds.
Vince. I can't believe you missed the most heinous, awful, even worse than the screwdriver through the ear that Orton did to Drew McIntyre. He put a T-shirt around his forehead and he pulled it.
You mean his trousers, his tight chi trousers?
Yeah.
Did you see though, Brett, when he did that bit? And
my days!
He pushes his face up against the I was about to say netting, but I mean it's
fencing.
the fencing. And Drew's like, I need to really get this over, so he sticks his tongue out through
yeah, that was gross. It did get quite homoerotic in places. Like, those two were doing a lot of heavy breathing in each other's ears.
Yes, they were.
I actually think that about a lot of Randy Orton matches. I think it's the way he slithers around the ring, kind of heavily breathing and just
like a viper.
Up.
Perfect.
Sure, like a viper or a sex pest.
Yeah, he likes to get his dog out and then shake people's hands.
The thing that I noticed the most about this match was when they were climbing down the cage, the cell, there are actually little spots for them to stand on.
Yeah, that's always been there, right?
I've never noticed that before.
Yeah.
It was so slow, and when they were punching each other, it's like, come on, just hit them. Like, they've got they can hold on if you do a decent punch to the kidneys or the back. They're just doing these little slaps. It looked really bad. I was the opposite to John. When they started walking up, I was like, okay, now I'm invested, because I found everything before that really boring. And I thought they were going to do something good, and they didn't.
The thing is, even up there, I thought neither of these guys are known for taking any big bumps. They're set, like, the size of the cage now, no one's going through the roof of it, because,
well, exactly,
that's going to kill it. So, like, I knew they were just going to end up hitting each other a couple of times, climbing down, and then taking, that sort of halfway bump onto the table. It was just so telegraphed.
That was a nasty bump. I'm maintaining that was a nasty bump.
I had a little bit of hope that we were going to see an RKO from that midpoint of the cell off the cell. I thought that would have been amazing. But this match was one of the dullest I've seen this year. A real low point for Drew McIntyre, who's had an incredible title reign.
Yeah, and he's a great wrestler. Like, he's got a lot in his locker, and there just wasn't any of it on show.
A low point for Randy Orton as well, who, to his credit, I think he has had a good feud with McIntyre so far. And I agree that I think this has been some of Orton's best work in the last few years, but it just kind of, I don't know, there's nothing that excites me about a Randy Orton title reign at all.
I don't know.
Plus,
I think
isn't it going
Hill
on
Randy,
to the Fiend?
come on.
Well, it's going to be either more McIntyre or the Fiend, and of course they're just waiting for Edge to come back again.
I mean, they've had 3 matches, right? They can't have Randy lose all but one and then not have a rematch. There has to be a rematch.
Did they not on Raw? I swear I saw the Fiend was calling out Randy.
Yeah, there was a bit of that.
I mean, so Survivor Series is coming up, which is essentially Clash of Champions 2, where they kind of have all of Raw versus all of SmackDown. So chances are it's going to be Orton versus Reigns in the next pay-per-view.
Yeah. Do they do that? Do they do champion versus champion? Because they can't have a loser.
Well, this is the thing.
They tend
They
to
do
just have
champion
two big
versus
title
champion
matches.
with a dusty finish.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And maybe the Miz running in somewhere. But we'll get to that shortly.
Will we?
Okay, and so Randy is now a 14-time champ, tied with Triple H, as we found out. This was actually Randy's first one-on-one title match for a major title since Battleground 2017. Any ideas who he faced?
Jinder, right? Yeah.
In the Punjabi prison.
No, it wasn't, was it?
I have no idea. Maybe.
I don't know if it's a prison, but these two had quite a feud, and it felt like it was. They
did have the Punjabi prison match.
So, are we telegraphing a Randy Orton Heath Slater feud at some point now to kind of finish off the 3-man band?
Oh, maybe
trilogy.
Well, I think Ginger's coming back, right? Maybe reignite that feud.
This was a bad match. I really am disappointed. I watched it.
Yeah, it was rubbish. I was so hyped because I was like, yes, we're just going to get 3 amazing Hell in the Cell matches and I don't care about the other matches. But then this was dreadful.
This was all right. I think this was all right.
Oh, God. Missed opportunity. Shouldn't have been the headliner.
Definitely not. Yeah, definitely not.
Okay, so those were the key matches. And as we said, they took up basically an hour and a half. We had 3 other matches. They took up 19 minutes. I don't think they were all completely shit. I think 2 of them were. But anyway, best of the rest. So I'll pick my favourite of the other matches, basically. And I'm going to go for...
Good luck
I
here.
actually believe it. I'm going to go for Otis versus The Miz.
Ooh.
As the best of a bad bunch. I'm not saying it was a great match. I think if I had to give it a star rating, I'd give it maybe a 2.75 or something. So, I liked watching the Law and Otis stuff at the start because obviously, I mean, I take it, was that on TV? That was like highlights from TV, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed catching up with that because I'd missed it. Asuka was in there, Brett. You must have loved that.
Yeah, no, that Law and Otis section I loved.
I wish they'd done more of that.
That was really entertaining. That was the first bit of the pay-per-view that I enjoyed.
Fucking hell. I love the fact that Otis has a little Money in the Bank lunchbox.
Yeah, lovely.
Which, who's got that at the moment? Is it you, Sam?
I think so. I'm set to lose it this winter.
One of our quiz prizes. And I just thought there were bits and bobs that were quite interesting. Obviously, it was a match for the Money in the Bank contract. And Corey Graves, and we talked about this the other week, what is Otis going to do with this? And Corey Graves mentioned how the contract is only for the WWE or the Universal Championship. So, obviously, yeah. This had to happen. I think Otis has clearly lost a lot of momentum since there's been no crowds.
Why give him the bloody briefcase in the first place?
Because he was popular with the crowds and with the fans.
They were never going to put him against Roman or Brock or any of those.
They had Aleister Black in that Money in the Bank match.
This has pissed me off so much. Like, I feel so sorry for Otis. Like, I like the guy. He's very charismatic. He's funny. He's not a bad worker. And WWE have just screwed him over so hard.
John ranting in a best of the rest. This doesn't bode well for the rest.
And they broke up Heavy Machinery, who are actually a half decent tag team.
Well, let's not go too far over it.
Half decent.
They were. They like from the little bits that we've got to see of them, they were entertaining. Like they had promise, but they're not going to do anything now.
Also, he loses to the fucking Miz. How uninspiring is that choice? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I liked it.
Wow.
Because I like the fact that the Miz went for the skull crushing finale but couldn't reach round. That's funny. I like the kick to the face that the Miz did to Otis, which fucking connected in the slow mo. You saw his face rippling. I mean, his face is constantly rippling anyway. That was a fat joke, which probably isn't a good thing to do. There was one of those during the match, wasn't there, from comms? But anyway, I thought Corey and Michael Cole were having a lot of fun during this, and that would probably wind some people up, but I didn't mind it. And then, I like the ending. I like the fact that Tucker smashed him with the briefcase. It was shocking. You could see all the fans in the Thunderdome looking really shocked, and I quite enjoyed that. Like, actually it was kind of like getting some crowd reaction, guys.
I like the idea of the crowd watching it being like, who's that member of the ring crew who just attacked Otis?
And to cap it all off, I thought the promos afterwards I thought the Miz's promo was great when he was talking into the camera, and then I thought Tucker did the best thing he's ever done in his promo. So yeah, I thought it was all right.
It's good that you are so positive on this, and I like the Law and Otis section as well. I thought that was very funny, especially JBL running a literal wrestler's court.
Yeah.
I just thought, for me, this is a poor ending to a poor decision. Like, kind of, Money in the Bank was already a kind of questionable result, and quite honestly, like, you know, that was a match with AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Aleister Black in it.
Rey Mysterio as well.
Rey Mysterio or Baron Corbin.
We didn't
murdered off a
mind
roof.
it. We liked
it at the time, but like, you got to deliver on the promise of a Money in the Bank kind of.
Yeah.
Like, what was the original plan back then when they thought, let's give it to Otis? What was the original plan?
It just feels like short-term planning. Yeah. It just feels like they haven't got anything.
No plan.
And is this worse than when Baron Corbin lost? Actually,
I think it
cashed
is,
in and lost.
because at least Baron was a credible contender, right? Like, you could put Baron in the main event, I guess.
It just...
You're not going to enjoy it, but you could.
That's exactly the problem here, is it just kind of feels like WWE making up the story as they go along. And it's like, what do we do this week? Let's make Otis win the belt. That will make people stand up and be like, oh, what the hell? And then it's like, okay, cool. What are you going to do with that? And then they do nothing. And it just kind of...
Yeah, they could easily put him in a match. Obviously, he wouldn't win, or maybe he does. But at least it would build up his stock a little bit.
100%. Imagine how hard people would have popped if he had run out after this epic storyline between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso.
Oh my God, yeah, and cashed in.
That would have been so silly.
And lost. It would have been hilarious.
He should have cashed in before his fucking match. That's what he should have
Takes
done.
out the elders.
That could have been the moment that Tucky, you know,
Tucky's
turns on his
teammate. What we're going
teammate.
with?
Yeah,
That's
100%.
what was on his his jacket, Tucky.
On his little denim jacket.
But that would have been a great, like,
Sleeveless.
you know, turn on your partner when he's trying to cash in.
Massively so. So much lost potential here from just basically, essentially spending one pay-per-view telling us a joke and then another one saying, oh, we didn't actually mean it.
And who would have minded if he ran in that last match?
Can we move to another best of the rest before we...
I was going to say,
really bury
best of the
this?
rest section.
Yeah, I really like the Hurt Locker, I keep saying it. I really like the Hurt Businesses promo. And I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed Bobby Lashley versus Slappers.
I was ready to enjoy Bobby Lashley again. I was like, okay, maybe this is going to be another sleeper hit with Bobby Lashley. But fuck that match, man. just how can you make these credible threat look so weak and pathetic, and it's just fucking awful.
Least favourite match of the night.
Well, yeah,
easily
Retribution are fucking awful.
Yeah.
I like the Hurt Business. Let me take this back.
I like Hurt
I like the
Business as well.
promo Hurt Business did, and I like where they're going.
Just want to see more Shelton Benjamin, man. He's like the most. He's one of those wrestlers you think he could have been one of the top guys.
Get the belts on these guys. You've got a belt on Lashley already. Get a tag team title going with Cedric and Shelton. Shelton's already a tag team wrestler from World's Greatest Tag Team. You've got potential there.
I'm fully coming around to Bobby Lashley as well.
I am as well. Like,
I
I really enjoy
happen.
this.
I honestly never thought that would happen.
I really like this stable. Really like it. I think they've got so much
stable.
potential, and I hope they do more than just middle card wrestling and kind of feuding with Ali's Retribution team of.
I so thought that was going to be like, this is for Survivor Series. They're actually going to have like a stable v stable match.
That is going to happen, right? Surely.
Yeah, on the pre-show.
But it
surely.
happened at Raw. They faced each other
Oh,
on Raw. So.
yeah, didn't. Oh goodness, I don't even know what
guess
she's
who
calling
lost?
herself now. Mia Yim, also known
Oh,
as
she's called something really weird, like
Retaliation or
Badger Honey.
Yeah.
Badger Honey. She had a stroke or something in the middle of the match.
Yeah, she was supposed to look like she was possessed or something.
Oh
What?
my God,
To
who's
do a
writing this
distraction.
bullshit?
But the main point is that Retribution lost again.
Yeah.
They keep losing.
Retribution are awful.
They didn't know what to do with Eric Young and Sanity, so they're gonna have no idea what to do with this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle bad
Honestly,
guy group of
it doesn't
Slapjack and
feel like we've had enough time to really talk about how bad Retribution are. They are like the Shockmaster as a stable. It's just awful. Tugboat would not look out of place in that stable.
Hey, don't you badmouth Tugboat. I love a bit of cutie pie Tugboat.
But anyway, my best of the rest is the Hurt Business. I really like them.
Okay.
I've got one very quick best of the rest. It's from the Roman J match. We didn't mention it, but there's a bit where Roman throws the referee out and the referee takes a bump over the top rope to the outside. And it was killer. Like, he didn't hit anything out, just straight over the top and straight down onto the floor.
Ready
So
for
true.
that Royal Rumble.
Such a great match. Cherry on the cake of a great match.
Yep.
Okay, and Brett, have you got any
No.
anything positive?
No. It was the Lauren Otis. That's the only other bit I enjoyed, really.
Okay, in which case, I'll let you kick off on worst of the rest then, Brett, because you haven't had much to say in the best of the rest. I'm sure you've got lots to say here. I mean, there's only one more match, isn't there? There's Elias versus Jeff Hardy.
So, like, I do still love Jeff Hardy, but why on earth is he in a match against Elias? And like, I thought, why the hell is this happening? And then they advertised,
Such a raw
Elias
match.
is releasing his next album, like, in a couple of days or whatnot. So I was just like, okay, so they just want to push another WWE release.
Let me fill you in, Brett. You see, Elias was wrestling Jeff Hardy because Elias was allegedly run over by Jeff Hardy whilst under the influence of drink. However, police only spotted a red-headed mohawked man walking away from the crime, and no one has any idea who that could possibly be.
I like that.
Also, this is all leading to like a song off, right? On like an episode of Raw or Survivor Series. Jeff Hardy sings a song, Elias
You'll
sings
be
a
happy
song.
with that, John.
Ugh,
You love Jeff Hardy's music.
awful.
Poor Jeff Hardy. I mean, like, he had a match just the other, like, pay-per-view with Sami Zayn and
AJ Styles.
AJ Styles.
It's
It was
decent
great.
as well.
That was great. He had that, and then he gets this.
Could do without him taking his top off in matches, though. Just personal preference.
Who, Jeff?
Yeah. I feel his age when he takes his top off.
Do you not feel his age when he comes out in his Cyberdog gear?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the same gear.
with his really
Decades
long
on.
handkerchief hanging out of his back pocket.
Where'd you get fishnet arm length?
You're going to trip up on that, Jeff.
I just like the idea of Lita throwing them all out and being like, I don't need these anymore. I'm not a child.
Jeff's like, yes. Oh dear. Well, I think the reason why that wasn't the worst match, even though it was definitely a Raw segment, was that at least you had Elias's little power bomb from the shoulders,
That
the
was
switch
good.
into the power
Yeah,
bomb.
that was cool.
Yeah.
And you had the whisper in the wind. At least there were a couple of spots in this. That were fairly enjoyable.
It was more the fact that it was happening on this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, apart from the Hell in a Cell matches, the other matches on this pay-per-view were garbage. Utter garbage. It's weird because there's some really good stuff in WWE happening at the top of the card, like the Sasha Bailey stuff, the Roman Reigns stuff, even a bit of the Fiend stuff is really cool. But everything like mid and lower mid is fucking awful.
This
It's
is the thing,
so
is that
bad.
There's stuff they can do with the mid card. Sami Zayn is the IC champion. Sami Zayn is one of the best mic speakers and wrestlers in the company.
Yeah, and given a chance, he would be absolutely on fire.
They've got so
At
much
the
talent.
moment.
Aleister Black, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Ricochet.
Get another women's match on there.
Yeah.
Get another women's match on there in place of one of those three matches.
This
I just wanted to sound right on.
No, but you're entirely correct here. Like this match,
Yeah.
this entire pay-per-view felt like it was just thrown together at the last minute. It doesn't feel like a lot of it makes much, if any, sense at all. Some of the matches are just, what you would expect to see on Raw or SmackDown. Some of the matches, in my opinion, the Hell in a Cell was not really justified at all. At least Hell in a Cell was kind of like a great excuse for there's no running away, now you've got to fight me. And there was none of that build-up in the kind of, leading up to Hell in
I
a
think
Cell.
all the bad matches on this pay-per-view are actually Raw ones. Right.
Yeah. Anyway, you say all this. The scoring's going to be interesting tonight.
Yeah, it's hard to score. It's really hard to score this.
It is. Well, anyway, let's pick a star performer then. I'll kick things off. I'm going to go for Sasha Banks because she got the belt. And as I say, this completes her set of horsewomen in a cage. And she was absolutely brilliant, took some huge bumps, and I love her. And she gets my vote. I was going to go for Brett, but he's just taken a swig of water. That's the advantage of podding with cameras on now, guys. John.
I'm also going to go Sasha.
Nice. Brett.
Sasha.
Hydrated Brett.
Easily Sasha.
Sam?
Slapjack. Sasha. Always Sasha.
Slapjack. Oh, Shane Thorne.
Yeah. I used to like him so much in NXT.
I do really enjoy saying Slapjack, though.
It's such a bonkers name. It's just, oh god, it's obviously come up by Vince. Like he thinks that's a cool name for.
Oh,
kids are gonna
definitely. He's
love
done all
Slapjack.
those names.
I love
Yeah.
it. It's like he just discovered what a 50s greaser band was or something. And was just like, cool, okay.
Overall rank, we'll give the pay-per-view score out of 10, see how it compares to other pay-per-views. Brett, kick us off.
I'm gonna give it 5.
Ooh, wow.
And all of that 5 is the 5-star match that was Sasha versus Bailey.
Oh my god, imagine if that match hadn't been on here.
Yeah, it would have been bad.
Let's go for the other negative Nelly. Sam?
I'm going to give it 4.5. This was a bad pay-per-view that people shouldn't watch. You should watch the Sasha Bailey match.
Yeah.
And that's
million
that.
times.
That's a good match in a bad pay-per-view.
Sam, Air 5.
Oh, John?
Well, because I think Sasha Bailey is like going to be one of my matches of the year, and I fucking love Jay versus Roman. Everything else was, I mean, Drew was okay. Everything else would go up. I'm going to have to still give it 8. I'm going to have to give it 8.
8. Oh my
Hey,
days.
John. I'm with you, John. Those 2 matches were just absolutely brilliant. Like I said, I haven't felt the goosebumps in through the entirety of lockdown, and I had that when Roman was in tears and Jay and Jimmy was there reaching out for Jay. And maybe we're absolutely pathetic, but it doesn't matter because we felt something, and that's all I really want these days is to feel something. So I am tempted to give it an 8, but that does feel quite high considering how terrible everything else was. So I'll go for a 7.5.
Just quickly, do you think Brett and myself have been harsh on this, like giving it such low scores? Because I don't feel like we are
I understand.
wildly out of sync.
It wasn't like your 2. what did you give it to?
There was a SummerSlam which was very bad. Caught me on
No,
a very
wasn't it
bad
like
day.
Fastlane or Roadblock or something like that?
Can I just say, Survivor Series 1997, Brett gave that a 1.
That was John made us watch that for a rewind. That was the most awful thing John's done in this pod.
No, that was War
That's the
Games.
Montreal
War Games
Screwjob.
93.
War Games.
Yeah, it was a screw job. So it was.
I think it's a very tongue-in-cheek
you're
one,
right.
that. Let's have
Yeah.
a look. How does that compare to other Hell in a Cells?
Forgotten about that. Yes.
So this is easily the worst Hell in a Cell that we've had so far. Coming in at an average of 6.25 underneath Hell in a Cell 2018. 2018 and 2019. 2019 averaging a 7.5, 2018 a 7.8. So they are on a downward trajectory. I gave last year's Hell in a Cell a 9.
Good
So,
Lord.
yeah, real swings and roundabouts here.
I'll tell you what's going to be really interesting. What the listeners thought.
Oh.
Let's find out after this break.
Let me tell you guys, that's the hardest part of the ring right there. That's where that steel goes down and a lot of, I'm going to tell you, you don't want to land right there.
Just quickly, as we come back in, Hell in a Cell is one place above SummerSlam, the infamous SummerSlam that was scored a 2.5, which prompted probably the most listener correspondence we've ever had.
I think there's going to be some interesting comments after this one, definitely. Anyway, let's find out what they thought of the match. The pay-per-view. I really hope they agree with me and John. Obviously.
Okay, so we've got Evans Pringle. Well, we asked for the top moments. Sorry, let's start with that. So we asked for the top Hell in a Cell moments. Evans Pringle, Roman Reigns getting better and better. Even his music seems to work now. I had no interest in it before. All of a sudden, it's a banger. Drew jumping off the cell. This was obviously bad, but so stupid it has to be a highlight. WWE even posted it on Instagram. Close up, no shame. There was an obvious cut, wasn't there? That like he was on the cell, there's a cut, and then he was in midair.
When Shane McMahon can do a better job of what you're doing.
He's so much bigger than Shane.
Yeah.
And Shane was doing it for his father's love. BBG Wrestling. Bailey failing to make the super kendo stick and asking the ref for help because she was too sweaty was dead funny. Only blip on an amazing match. Roman acting, crying, then choking Jimmy was heartbreaking. Amazing work. Match didn't need to be in a cell.
Okay.
Otis's new theme was pretty cool.
Didn't notice that.
It was quite generic Baron Corbin-y, I thought, except for the big cool bit at the beginning of Baron Corbin's.
No, you're going to lose the briefcase, and that sucks. It's really embarrassing. But we've got this lovely new theme.
Loserweight. Well, Sasha drop kicking the belt out of the cell. I think it was the chair, wasn't it? Yeah. Bailey's nose plant on the floor. Rather, he's put rose plant. I think it's nose plant onto the floor.
And had him rose plant.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate, I mean, who knows? Loserweight knows his stuff.
He does,
generally,
yeah.
I find.
Let's go rose plant.
Yeah, let's call it a rose plant.
And finally, Sasha tapping out Bailey with the bank statement chair stomp combo. Could fill out a top 10 moments from that match alone. Yes, Loserweight.
Yeah.
That was a very good match.
So good.
I might try and rewatch it.
Well, you need to go through, it's like you go for a run and have a bacon sandwich. You need to do your miles.
I mean, it is. One part of me thought, wouldn't it be great if it was just the 3 Hell in a Cell matches? But then that would never work. You need that break in between. It's just a shame that the breaks were so bad. But
I mean, this is the big thing I actually really want to talk about: is the whole Hell in a Cell concept.
Okay. Spin-off pod.
Yeah. No. I think it's worth discussing though. Is that Hell in a Cell sucks? I
like it. You're guaranteed good matches, I think.
Well, the thing is that they've made the cell too fucking big.
Yeah,
you can't
it is
do
way
anything
too big.
with it. It's just a big cage at this point. You can't
Doesn't
have
need to be that
someone
tall,
go
does
through it or off it, or the best you can have is someone very slowly climb up it and very slowly climb down it.
Yeah, even if they could on the inside, grab onto the underside and climb along a bit and then hit something
Lucha
or
House
drop
Party
down.
style.
Yeah, like that. Was that
in the
Wargate
Elimination Chamber?
If you think back to some legendary Hell in a Cell matches, none of them use this massive cell. It's just too cumbersome to be interesting. It doesn't add anything at this point. There's no danger in it. There's no anything. It's not the scary, intimidating structure anymore. It's just a big cage.
Just saying that a big cage is quite intimidating and scary. I'm intimidated by the concept of a big cage.
Except if any of us played football on the playground when they're at school, you know that when you sort of fall into that kind of cage, it just springs you back. It's nice. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
It does not hurt.
Was it painted red though, Adam?
No, it was not.
I honestly if they had done a pay-per-view which was all cage matches or something, that would be so much better than this. Hell in a Cell is just it's so poor in comparison to what it used to be. I can't stand Hell in a Cell now.
Sam will continue his rant on his soapbox in Hyde Park.
Yeah. I will do.
Listener's corner.
On his big red soapbox that's too tall.
Well, we've got Graham Hughes. Let's see if he agrees with Sam. All 3 Hell in a Cell matches provided their own multiple moments. The I Quit match with the emotion, unrelenting brutality. Sasha and Bailey given a non-stop match. Bailey with the tape and kendo sticks. Sasha with that finish. Orton deserved the win after stepping up to the plate for the company since the pandemic started, leading by example. Loved the smoothness of the finish, dodging the Claymore into the RKO. That was a cool finish, actually. Drew's fall from the cage gave the highlight reel moment and looked nasty.
There you go.
See, I think most of the listeners liked it. Just you two grumpy old men that didn't.
I'd be very interested to hear what the listeners think in comparison to Hell in a Cell matches of the past, the really legendary good ones. Where does this rank in comparison to them? Because honestly, I don't think, other than Bailey versus Sasha, which was a great match, but didn't need the cell involved, just none of these are going to register as kind of classic Hell in a Cell matches.
I think you need to rewatch Roman J in a few weeks or months. I think you'll love that match.
All right.
Yeah, and I don't want to keep going, but if you didn't have the cell in that Sasha Bailey match, you wouldn't have had the running up the table spot because she wouldn't have been pinned up against anything. You wouldn't have had the kendo sticks into the steps and the fence. There's quite a lot of it. You wouldn't have had the meteoras
you know
into
what?
the...
Fair enough. If you say...
Drop the roof. Drop the roof.
Make the cell smaller and more intimidating, but
Why did you have to bring up smell?
I'm sorry, Adam.
Okay, so let's move on. Thank you, listeners, for getting involved. And do you know what the listeners really want to hear? They want to hear from Harry. Brett, where's Harry this week?
Very quiet.
Oh, he's here. He's been meowing. You'll hear it.
Give him a kick. Come on, give him a mic.
Actually,
And he's
usually
been
around this
pulling the
bit.
kitchen apart as well. He's been pulling the underside of the cabinets off. So he's stropping.
Is he doing a refit?
Yeah, that's what he does. He wants food. He destroys stuff.
Beautiful. Okay, well, hopefully he'll get really vocal during this bit where you tell us how people get in touch, and then I'll tell people about our plans for the next few weeks.
Okay, so if people want to get in touch, they can send their emails to hardestpartofthering@gmail.com, or they can find us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. We are at hardestpartpod.
Brilliant. Next week, we're not going to be doing a podcast because we've had a decent run, and then we've got loads of stuff coming up after that. And then we've got holidays and stuff. So next week, no Hardest Part of the Ring. But go back and listen. We've got 128 other episodes. You could go back and listen to that SummerSlam review that we talked about, or the other Hell in a Cells, or there's all sorts of good stuff.
Brett and me need to go take a week just to cool off from our anger.
That's the real reason. It's because these two you should be in our WhatsApp group. It's just hell. They're just so down on everything. Whereas John and I could podcast daily.
Yeah, maybe not daily.
We may do that.
Maybe not.
But so yeah, no podcast next week. Then it's AEW Full Gear, which should be interesting as well, because obviously there's loads of great talent there, and we haven't spoken about them for a while. And then all sorts of other good things that you will find out about very soon. But until then, it's goodbye for this week from Sam.
See you later.
Goodbye, John.
Goodbye.
And goodbye, Brett.
Bye.
That was the Hardest Part of the Ring.
That is the hardest